Hello and welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I am Theodore Henry. Did you know that the month of November has other titles? It's also Youth Month and Epilepsy Awareness Month. In this edition of Jamaica Magazine, we've prepared lots of exciting features in line with these themes. So stay tuned, we'll jump right into it after the news.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash no paper, no dash no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep
eat.
we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your GIS News for Thursday, November 2. The Kingston Public, Spanish Town and National Chest Hospitals will all have new elevators within the next 6 months. Malfunctioning of elevators at the facilities has severely hampered surgeries and movement of patients. So yesterday, the Ministry of Health signed contracts with Jamaica Electrical and Mechanical Engineers to replace the outdated lifts at a total cost of $44.9 million. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the replacement of the elevators will provide critical logistic support to the hospitals.
It is a signaling of our intention as a government, as a country, to modernizing or bringing healthcare and the capacity to respond to the healthcare needs of our population into modern times.
Dr. Tufton says regular maintenance will ensure that the elevators perform efficiently. The replacements are being financed by grants from the National Health Fund. In other health news, the case for investment to prevent non-communicable diseases, NCDs, in Jamaica has been laid against the stark economic realities. In the Caribbean, 3 out of 4 deaths are due to non-communicable diseases such as diabetes and chronic respiratory disease. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the economic cost of that must be weighed and factored in policy planning.
For me, it's not a difficult sell. And in fact, I insist on it as minister to place a lot of emphasis on research and data to drive decision making.
Dr. Tufton was speaking at a recent forum held at the University of the West Indies Mona Visitors Lodge. He insisted that more people must come to appreciate the impact of lifestyle choices on their health. The health minister pointed out that a number of initiatives have started and said a lot more was planned to change negative lifestyle behavior related to food consumption and physical activity.
Many of us are not even prepared to accept that we have a crisis until the crisis becomes very personal, very upfront and very close, either you or someone you love. I'm talking about the 30% of premature deaths or the 70% of persons who are influenced by the fact that they overindulged in salts, sugars, fats, alcohol, tobacco. It's nice to do it while it's not affecting you, but when it hits home, oftentimes it's way too late.
Residents in the Denham Town Zone of Special Operations are in line to benefit from an integrated package of physical and human capital development. In Parliament Tuesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said some of the initiatives were already underway. They include a project to pave 2,609 square meters of roadway in Hannahtown, Denham Town and Tivoli Gardens. Upgrading of water supply and distribution pipelines, as well as the cleaning of existing and installation of new sewer pipes, will also be carried out.
What this zone will do is to create the space in which these projects can be more effectively managed and implemented.
Through an alternative livelihood and skills development program, over 300 young persons in the Denham Town ZOSO are receiving training, certification internships, and employment. An enterprise development project targeting new and existing businesses within the community and a sports program will also be undertaken. Government is currently looking to procure closed-circuit television (CCTV) systems for secondary schools. Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid made the announcement during this week's post-cabinet media briefing at Jamaica House.
What I want is a CCTV camera network right across the entire education system. And what that artificial intelligence system capability would allow not only for you to be able to have accurate surveillance of the school, whether through weapons or any behaviors that are abnormal. And we are currently looking at procuring such capabilities.
Minister Reid was responding to media questions in relation to this week's reports of fighting at Anchovy High School, which resulted in a teacher being injured. A report to the Education Ministry confirmed that the teacher was attacked and hit over the head after he made attempts to prevent students who were fighting from rushing into his office on Monday. The Anchovy police station was contacted and 4 students were subsequently held and taken to the station. A meeting was held with staff, education officers, and members of the JCF's Community Safety and Security Branch on Tuesday. Coming out of that meeting, it was agreed that the police will assign a school resource officer and organize more frequent patrols in the vicinity of the school, as well as random checks of students and vendors.
Further to that, I have asked Dr. Grace McLean, which is the Chief Education Officer, to also work to develop a strategic plan that will help to improve the overall management at the school. I gather there are some gaps down there, and so we need a whole program of turnaround. I'll speak in more detail on that once we have concluded that plan.
Government has set a revised timeline to give an official response to a Jamaica House petition on the cockpit country. The government had missed the 30-day deadline to respond to the petition, which garnered support from over 15,000 persons. However, in a statement, the Office of the Prime Minister says Cabinet continues to deliberate on matters relating to the cockpit country. The OPM says consultation with the environmental community regarding the draft boundaries was also being done. And the Prime Minister has also reiterated government support for initiatives aimed at protecting the environment. He encouraged citizens to be more caring of their surroundings and to adopt sustainable environmental practices. And finally, the Child Development Agency, CDA, and the Office of the Children's Registry, OCR, have now merged, forming a new entity, the Child Protection and Family Services Agency. Education, Youth and Information State Minister Floyd Green made the announcement in a press release yesterday. The OCR receives, records, assesses and refers all cases of child abuse, including missing children, to the Child Development Agency, which partners with the Office of the Children's Advocate to investigate and take action. The merger is expected to create a more efficient child protection sector with emphasis on pooling of resources, timeliness and eventual increase in the Field Services Division staff complement. A press briefing will be held next week to further outline the phases of the merger. And that's it for GIS News today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching. Epilepsy, also known as fits, is more common than you think. Watch this next feature to learn more.
What do Socrates, Theodore Roosevelt, Charles Dickens, Alfred Nobel, Prince, Lil Wayne, Elton John, Danny Glover, and Hugo Weaving all have in common? If you said they're all famous, that's not quite the answer I'm looking for. All these prominent figures are believed to have or had what many know as fits or seizures associated with epilepsy, one of the oldest and least understood medical conditions.
It is not dopey take you over, it is not spirits. We have these myths that we do need to dispel in Jamaica. Some people think it's contagious, and it is not contagious. You cannot catch epilepsy. Anyone, anytime can get epilepsy.
So, what is epilepsy? It's a disorder of the brain characterized by recurrent seizures, which are short periods of involuntary movements involving a part of the body, a partial or focal seizure, or the entire body, a generalized seizure. Our brains run on electricity, which is produced by cells called neurons. In some people, these neurons sometimes produce a sudden electrical burst or power surge, resulting in a seizure.
Epilepsy is a chronic disorder, just like asthma or diabetes. It's a disorder of the brain. And so when a patient has a seizure, they do have unusual behavior at the time of their seizure. But otherwise, they're usually quite normal. It's also not a mental illness. People with epilepsy are not crazy. It's a brain disorder, but it's not a mental illness.
The cause of epilepsy can be genetic,
meaning that you can be born with a genetic disorder that predisposes your brain to be abnormally wired, and that you are more likely to produce these epileptic discharges and have seizures recurrently. Sometimes you may have, when the baby is being formed in the first few months of their embryological life, you may have an abnormality happening with the brain formation.
Then, there are other conditions that can occur at any time during someone's life that can cause epilepsy.
Those conditions that are acquired would be those related to a physical injury to the brain or an infection in the brain, such as meningitis, which is an infection of the covering around the brain, or an encephalitis, which is an infection of the brain substance itself, as well as you may have stroke, decreased blood supply, nutrients going to the brain, also causing seizures and epilepsy.
Seizures do not always involve convulsions or jerking of the body. There are in fact over 20 different seizure types. Many are quite subtle, as in the case of 12-year-old Liana.
We found out when she was about 3 months old. It was something very subtle. We found out that she was just staring in one direction for probably a minute or two, keeping that stare.
For Marvin Fullerton, his experience was different.
I first found out in 1994, November 1994, when I was in technical high school. What I did was feeling some itching on my skin. I went to the school nurse, asked her what was wrong with me, and she told me that I need to change my bath soap. Right.
And what happened after that?
Well, I changed my bath soap and nothing really changed after. But it was January 4, 1995 when I had my first attack. And I woke up in my father's car going to hospital.
Even though he was soon diagnosed with epilepsy, Marvin was able to live a normal life for most of his years as a student.
I was able to go to school. I was put on simple medications such as Tegitol CR 200. No problem. It was easy taking it. It prevented me from having an attack, but my body was not having much problems at those times.
Marvin went on to attend the Vocational Training Development Institute, VTDI, and the University of Technology. He holds a diploma in architecture and construction management. But despite his academic achievements, he still has challenges gaining employment.
I'm not working right now because it was just the other day I was in the hospital, right? And I got an interview for a job. The interview was wonderful, but I was in the hospital, so the job somewhat got turned down. They found out about the situation and I got turned down.
Unfortunately, there are those who believe that persons with epilepsy cannot work or lead normal lives.
Most people, 70 to 80% of people with epilepsy, can have their seizures controlled. It's the person you employ who you don't yet have their first seizure. Those are the ones that you should be worried about, because any of us can develop epilepsy for different reasons at any time.
If you believe someone is having a seizure, there are some things you should never do.
Do not put any objects in the mouth. Do not put a spoon to hold the tongue down. Do not bring scallion. Do not take a dirty sneaker and put over the face.
So then, what should you do?
you need to cushion their heads. Whether you have a cushion or a jacket, you can take off and make a cushion just to support the head so they don't damage themselves. You loosen, if it's a man with a tie, loosen his clothing so that he can get some air and he can relax. You turn the person on the side. Do not put them with their heads right back. Turn them on their side and the tongue will fall and any fluids of the mouth will drain out to the side. And I guarantee you, you cannot swallow your tongue. A seizure would take between 3 to 5 minutes. Now, if the seizure continues for more than 5 minutes, you should take that person to the hospital.
Anti-seizure medication is the most commonly used method to control seizures. Discounts are available for epilepsy patients who are registered with the National Health Fund. But there are side effects. Some persons experience weight gain, drowsiness, irritability, skin rashes, and blood platelet changes, among others, all of which require understanding from those around them. Then, there is also medical marijuana or medical cannabis.
It seems to have helped a number of, especially children with epilepsy that have been intractable, that is difficult to treat. But in Jamaica, we still need legislation in order to use it, and there's still a lot of research that needs to be done about the dosing of the CBD or cannabidiol to be used to treat epilepsy, but it surely seems as though it may be promising.
Research has also shown that diets such as a ketogenic diet can help control the onset of epileptic seizures. The Jamaican Association for Epilepsy offers support for persons with epilepsy and their families. The association also holds regular meetings with members at the Andrews Hospital to share experiences and discuss concerns. They can be contacted at telephone 968-8274 or email jaepilepsy@gmail.com.
The deadline for the GIS Heritage Essay, Poster and Photo Competition has been extended to November 5. Send in your entries for a chance to win a weekend or day passes to a North Coast hotel. Poster competition entrants win graphics courses for this summer at colleges and universities. Other prizes include movie tickets, trophies, and cash. The competition is open to primary, secondary, and tertiary level students. For more information, visit the GIS website at gis.gov.jm or call us at 926-359024.
Get moving for a healthier you is the passionate call to action by the Ministry of Health. And it's creating waves across the country as Jamaica moves to tackle non-communicable diseases (NCDs) through regular physical exercise and proper nutrition. Within schools, the Healthy Lifestyle program is being rebranded through the Healthy Youth Positive Energy Hype initiative.
The reality is that 7 of every 10 Jamaicans would die each year. And we have about 18 to 20,000 deaths in our country each year, die from what we classify as non-communicable diseases. Lifestyle diseases, to put it simplistically. And it's all about our physical inactivity and our consumption patterns, our habits.
The Ministry of Health is on a mission to change that by getting every Jamaican to engage in at least 30 minutes of physical exercise daily. In fueling this fitness revolution, the ministry launched the Jamaica Moves campaign under the theme, More Moments, More Memories, and More Life.
If you do what we are promoting, then as the tagline says, you'll have more moments, more time to spend with your family, your friends, do what you enjoy, more memories, capture all of those lovely memories, and more life.
Through promotional events across the island, the ministry is showcasing entertaining exercise workouts that persons can go home and practice. Free medical checks are also being provided.
It's part of the preventative healthcare method, and that's the approach that we're trying to take before we get to the part of the curative side, which is hospital care.
Jamaica Moves is also developing walking trails in each parish and partnering with local walking and running groups. This is all part of the National Strategic and Action Plan for the Prevention and Control of NCDs for the period 2013 to 2018. The plan covers 7 main categories of diseases: cardiovascular conditions, cancers, chronic respiratory diseases, diabetes, sickle cell, mental health disorders, and injuries.
Rarely do we speak about the need to change our lifestyle in our own interests as individuals. And it is cheaper to do that. 1/3 of your income, according to the World Bank, if you get arthritis, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and all the others that are linked to lifestyle, 1/3 of your disposable income, the World Bank says, will end up being spent on treating those ailments. So it affects the bottom line and your pocket also.
Many persons like this man can testify to the benefits of living a healthy lifestyle, which extend beyond monetary savings.
All my family have diabetes. One night, I see my hand hook up like this, pull in, and get cramp. My feet then start to cramp. The morning, I put on my clothes, get ready and go to the doctor. He do my blood sugar level, and it was 29.5. And he said, oh my God, you almost kill yourself. So the doctor said, I know what to do, Mr. Reed. He says, yes, sir. So I was weighing at the time 285 pounds with a big tummy like this. So he said, go and cut out your belly. And you know what I mean. So I said, I understood, doctor. I'm going to change my diet and I'm going to take up exercise 1,000,000%. So I start off by 1 mile back and forth till I end up doing 10 miles. Exercise is the key to good health. Eat right, change your diet, less carb. Remember to put the running shoes right at your bed. As you step out of your bed, you step in. And the first thing, you drink 1 cup of water before you move. And eat a lot of fruit, eat a lot of greens, and always have 1 glass of green juice every week.
Dedicating 30 minutes out of every day to physical exercise may seem a big challenge, but begin with just 1 step and you'll find it becomes manageable. Regular exercise helps prevent damage to your heart's artery from high cholesterol, high blood sugar, and high blood pressure that can lead to heart attack or stroke. Medical experts say aerobic exercises also improve the body's blood circulation and reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes while helping to control blood glucose in persons living with diabetes. There are exercises tailored to building muscle and losing weight, increasing strength, and improving flexibility. Corporate Jamaica is on board with the Move for Health, and even more are encouraged to take on the Jamaica Moves Corporate Challenge. It involves companies and their staff signing up and participating in the various run-walk events.
We want to mobilize as many companies as possible. So what we say to you is sign up your company, get registered, endorse the Jamaica Moves brand, which is a national brand. The reality is many of us don't practice healthy living. So we need more people to do it, and by doing it, encourage others so to follow.
Persons can learn about the various Jamaica Moves challenges and events by logging on to the Ministry of Health's website moh.gov.jm or jamaicamoves.com. Staying fit and healthy is everybody's business, so get moving for better health.
Children, and we have rights. We have a right to be
protected, provided for,
and included. Don't beat me up, don't belittle me, and please don't molest me.
I am under 13. I should not be working for a living. That is child labor. It is illegal.
Stop leaving me alone. I am too young to provide for myself. I need your guidance.
Protect our nation's children. They have rights too. To learn more about children's rights, call or visit the offices of the Child Development Agency.
The school year has already started, but youth safety is a constant priority. This Youth Month, the Child Development Agency reminds us of some tips to protect our youth. So listen up, because we have information useful for all ages, all year round.
The primary responsibility is to ensure that children, the care and protection of children and children who are at risk. So that's our mandate. We know that some children have to traverse the roads going home. They walk. We ask them to walk in pairs or in groups. We ask them not to play on the road, because they get distracted. For the bigger ones, we ask them not to use their mobile devices on the road, because you are not as alert as you should be when you are distracted. As best as possible, accompany the child or have somebody accompany them. If you have a taxi person or a bus that picks them up, make sure you know the persons who are taking the children, Make sure you know the time they should get home. Have some way of being in contact with the drivers during the period to make sure that they are home when they should be home, so that if anything happens, you have a shorter window for action. What we want to say to teachers: know the students, know them, know their habits, know the general deportment and how they present themselves each day. So if there's a change in that, a child who is very talkative, all of a sudden not talking, withdrawing, a child who is crying, of course there are the physical signs, a child with a broken arm, there's a burn mark, and if you use an iron to burn a child, you would see the mark, that kind of thing. So we ask them to be very observant. We ask them, and I know the PTA is very critical, so you get to know your parents, you get to know your teachers, right? So we ask the teachers, as best as possible, to get to know the parents, so that if there is a change in behavior, even a slight shift, you can inquire as to what is the situation. Obviously, you could have the grades falling, for example, a child who is in kindergarten starting to wet themselves again. And so if there is an issue, they have to do the regular reporting to the OCR. They can report directly to the CDA as well. We have responsibility for wards of the state, and I really want to appeal to our teachers, our school community. We don't want them to treat the wards of the state as being different from any other child. They talk about being stigmatized, we talk about the children who are on path, people really give you some horror stories about how they are treated. We want to encourage our school community, just treat them as any other child, right? Some of them have some special needs, need probably a little more help, but we are asking that as best as possible look out for the children. And our special needs children who are not like others in terms of physical sense probably, or even intellectually, we're asking that special provisions must be made for them within the school community.
This is the end of today's edition of the magazine, but we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same station. Until then, get the latest on government info and policies by checking our website, gis.gov.jm. Also, reach out to us by sending an email to jamaicamagazine@gis.gov.jm or a tweet @GIS News. I'm Theodore Henry. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.